And so the Chinese government was the one that broke the ice on that. And they, believe it or not, General Electric here in the United States ended up being a contractor. And the first 24 of them are out running now, and they fly basically forever without any visible source of energy. And they fly at several hundred miles an hour, and they're very effective. And 48 more of them were contracted for recently, so there'll be 24 and 48, there'll be that many of them before the year's over here, actually out physically running. So chances are you may have actually seen one of them. You may have actually seen one of them and didn't know it. They don't make any noise, it's a fun thing. And basically they run forever without any current source of energy, which actually, as we know, is the ambient energy background, which we were demonstrating on this system. Okay, we need someone else there's not 10 minutes. I don't believe that.
The question is about the demonstration we had previously with the two plates. Do you need the electrical arc to have the thing work, or you can just put the high voltage on one side?
Well, actually what we were seeing here is totally unnecessary, because if you, any energy source which you can put on a capacitor plate, which is not going anywhere, when it hits that capacitor plate, that's the end of the transit for that energy. But the other side duplicates through the van der Waals and Kashmir effect the first side, and the second side is an open circuit, totally independent from the first side. And you could, the degree of Earth's grounding you put on that second side depends on the amount of useful energy present. So you adjust that so that it matches your requirements.
Okay, and to have the circuit work, do they have to share the same ground from the input and the output, or they have to be totally separate?
They don't share. Now, you can have the amount of energy actually physically used is very tiny. It's in milliwatts or less, and you can put a feedback thing on there which will make up for the difference there, and it will basically go forever.
Thanks.
Is that your question?
Yeah, well, I will experiment and I will find the answer just to make sure that I
Okay,
understand.
well, I tell you, it's so simple as to be ridiculous, and it's not complicated, and that's my kind of advice. I like things that are simple and easy.
Okay, and you don't have to go at 10,000 volts to make the thing
No,
work
you
from the
can
first plate?
work it on 10 volts or 5 volts or whatever.
Okay, thanks.
It depends on if you have a capacitor to handle it, you have a huge amount, or if you have a small capacitor, it will work just the same. Okay, you're welcome. I think everybody's thinking.
So the question, to continue his discussion about the voltages necessary, you can buy these 1 farad capacitors for
they're
$4 or
quite
$5.
accessible today.
Pardon?
They're quite accessible.
They're quite accessible for $5 or $6 or whatever they are. They're about that big. They're about that thick.
Yes.
1 farad, but they're low voltages.
1 farad is equal to a kilowatt.
So, but they only take 4, 5, 6 volts or whatever else. But you can
That's
use that.
okay, but you
Yep.
can use if your final output, terminal output is going to be 5 volts, 10 volts, or whatever, you adjust it accordingly.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. So that's how if you run your motor scooter. If you want to build a motor scooter that does this, just look at the capacitor that's already in that motor scooter and figure out how to wire it slightly different, and you've got a motor scooter that will run forever. Aren't you glad you thought of that?
Like an hour of that wiring.
Oh, my goodness. They're too quiet.
This might be a good time to break for lunch.
I got one more question. If you don't mind, Don, tell us a little bit more about the material that you put on the road. You say you use it in some of your machines. Some sort of material that creates.
The one that knocks the magnetic flux out.
Yeah, they put it on the road to count the cars, and you use it in some of your machines.
Oh, you're talking about the
Is the electric material?
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
It's like a rubber or plastic or something like
Yes,
that.
it's available off the shelf. It's commonly used for counting automobiles and things
Okay.
like that.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bruce, you want to ask a question?
Well, I know how your stuff works, and I've built some stuff. And
I think everyone has in their mind pretty clear what happens. You're still expecting something to be complicated or difficult.
Very
and it's not.
Very simple. Jimmy, I don't know if you're still in contact with Jimmy, but he built one of your devices, sent me a video, and he's lighting up a light bulb with it.
Oh, you can light up however many light bulbs you want to light up, basically forever.
He threw it all together from spare parts, so he's having a problem with one of the components in there, and he just hasn't replaced it. But
Yeah.
with a new component in there, it lasts forever.
Actually, you can build light bulbs that will light up forever. I have some of Edison's original light bulbs that were built back in the 1989 or something, and they're absolutely as good as they were the day they were built, and some of them have been used ever since they were built originally, and they don't wear out. So building a light bulb that doesn't wear out is not a complicated thing at all.
All of Don's circuits are on my website. All you have to do is download it and actually get your hands dirty and build the circuits and make mistakes, and then eventually you'll have a working circuit. But you have to get your hands dirty. Don's practically handed it to you on a plate. The schematics have been up there for a few years, and there have been some people who have duplicated that contacted me, and it works. It just
Which website?
newenergy.org. Oh, actually, take that back. It's from my news group on Yahoo. It's New Energy.
New Energy?
From Yahoo groups, the discussion list, and it's in my archives under files.
New Energy, N-U-E-N?
Yeah.
You want the website?
Yeah.
I just have to have the
Okay.
article with me. Yeah,
You have the article
several articles.
of Dawn's?
Huh?
Of Dawn's?
Yeah. Oh, Don's, not necessarily Don's,
I can tell you this, that in Eastern Europe, there are probably 400 or 500 people who have duplicated my devices with real good results. And one of the most interesting ones was they wanted to know and make them a coil, like the Tesla coil pills. They used stainless steel tubes on the Tesla coils when they wound them. And the net result was that the whole countryside for about 10 miles around lit up at night, and they couldn't turn the lights off. So that was one case I don't know. And there were quite a few more. And it seems that people in Eastern Europe bloc are more open-minded than they are anywhere else that I've seen. And I have a lot of communication with them, and I know they've duplicated. Most people don't tell me when they've duplicated something, it suddenly becomes a secret, and I'm not supposed to know about it. But occasionally I get someone that's very friendly and talkative, and they'll tell me what's going on. And so I know that my devices have been duplicated in many, many parts of the world already.
Don, on your very first device, the picture you showed us with the coil and the three coils around it, right? Those small coils would suggest a very high operating frequency.
Yes or no. You can run it at quite a number of frequencies. The frequency depends on how fast the thing is spinning, because it's got an off and on device there where the magnetic flux is being cut off and it's turned on, cut off, turned on. Each time the part of the whole passage there that is open, see, it blocks the magnetic flux normally. And there are holes that are cut in the thing, and when they pass the magnet, the magnetic flux comes back, and it causes an energy surge. So it's not like the Dennis Lee I'm talking about is not the one that's here listening today, but the devices that Dennis Lee did came indirectly from me, but he refused to use the system which I asked for, and the net result, those devices are killed by the heat factor. When they run, the magnets will last a fairly short period of time, and that's why you won't find it demonstrating in the devices over a long period of time.
A question about the frequency. The input frequency you said was very high in the example you gave us. Is that critical? Does that matter?
Okay, the natural frequency of magnets, they have just like everything else, every substance, it has a natural frequency which is built into the system, so to speak. So the magnets themselves can be very low frequency or very high frequency, but they're more inclined to be high frequency. And it's more likely to be out of the range. It's like your megahertz. If you see the energy spectrum from the electrical display that is available, I'll have to tell you about it on the internet. But all things, all substances, materials that are solid or otherwise, or human or whatever, everything has its own natural frequency. And most of the frequencies we're running into on magnet type stuff are actually in the gigahertz or something along that line. And if you know what those frequencies are, you can actually make an energy device direct without having any moving parts, and I've done that. And it was very successful. And say you have a 50 my mind's going sideways, on the amount of magnetic energy out of the magnetic flux energy.
Gauss?
It is into the
Gauss?
hundreds of Gauss. Okay, thank you very much. And one Gauss is equal to 100,000 volts worth of electricity. So you can see the magnet with 100 Gauss in it. It represents a considerable amount of energy, and the magnet itself may be the size of a peanut. See? So if you can access that energy properly, correctly, you have equivalent to that amount of energy accessible to you. And I've done it, and it works beautifully. And it doesn't deplete the magnet, because the magnet works like a sponge. When you take the energy out, it immediately rebuild itself. So the energy is coming directly at you and can come out with unlimited amounts without depleting the magnet. One of my inventions does this, and I think it's very interesting because it means that instead of a little tiny flashlight battery or battery like in the hearing aid here, you can have a million watts of energy direct from the source without having other complications. That's one of those 200 devices that I built.
Have you patented that?
No, I haven't patented it yet, but I dare anybody else to do it.
No, I was hoping you would, so.
It is a very interesting source of energy, and it's highly obvious that it's there, and it's what to do about it that matters. And if you know what to do about it, it's accessible to you. I think we have a point here where we need to go find out how bad those beans were burned.
So we're in lunch break here. We'll be back here in an hour and a half for my presentation. And let's give Don a hand for giving us his presentation.
Like that on me.